Hello friends, welcome to my channel. Today I am going to read rest of the part of the chapter We Are Not Afraid to Die If We Can All Be Together. So let's start. By morning on January 3, the pumps had the water levels sufficiently under control for us to take 2 hours rest to rotation, but we still had a tremendous leak somewhere below the water line, and on checking I found that nearly all the boat's main rib frames were smashed down to the knee. In fact, there was nothing holding up a whole section of the starboard hull except a few cupboard partitions. We had survived for 15 hours since the wave hit, but wave walker wouldn't hold together long enough for us to reach Australia. I checked our charts and calculated that there were 2 small islands a few hundred kilometers to the east. One of them, Armstrong, was a French scientist base. Our only hope was to reach this pinprick in the vast ocean. But unless the wind and seas adapted so we could hoist sail, our chance would be slim indeed. The great wave had put our auxiliary engine out of action. On January 4, after 36 hours of continuous pumping, we reached the last few centimeters of water. Now we had only to keep pace with the water still coming in. We could not set any sail on the mainmast. Pressure on the rigging would simply pull the damaged section of the hull apart, so we hoisted the storm jib and headed for where I thought the 2 islands were. Mary found some corned beef and cracker biscuits, and we ate our first meal in almost 2 days. But our respite was short-lived. At 4 p.m., black clouds again building up behind us. Within the hour, the wind was back to 40 knots and the seas were getting higher. The weather continued to deteriorate throughout the night, and by dawn on January 5, our situation are again desperate. When I went in to comfort the children, John asked, "Daddy, are we going to die?" I tried to assure him that we could make it. "But Daddy," he went on, "we aren't afraid of dying if we can all be together. You and Mummy, Sue and I." I could find no words with which to respond, but I left the children's cabin determined to fight the sea with everything I had. To protect the weakened starboard side, I decided to have two with the undamaged boat hull facing the oncoming waves, using an improvised sea anchor of heavy nylon rope and 2 22-liter plastic barrels of paraffin. The evening, Mary and I sat together holding hands as the motion of the ship brought more and more water in through the broken planks. We both felt the end was very near, but wave worker rode out the storm, and by the morning of January 6, with the wind easing, I tried to get a reading on the sextant. Back in the chart room, I worked on wind speeds, changing of course, drift, and current in an effort to calculate our position. The best I could determine was that we were somewhere in 150,000 kilometers of ocean looking for a 65 kilometers wide island. While I was thinking, Sue, moving painfully, joined me. The left side of her head was now very swollen, and her blackened eyes narrowed to slits. She gave me a card she had made. On the front, she had drawn caricatures of Mary and me with the words, "Here are some funny people. Did they make you laugh?" I laughed a lot as well. Inside was a message. "Oh, how I love you both." So this card is to say thank you and let's hope for the best. Somehow we had to make it. I checked and rechecked my calculations. We had lost our main compass and I was using a spare which had not been corrected for magnetic variation. I made an allowance for this and another estimate of the influence of the westerly currents which flow through this part of the Indian Ocean. About 2 p.m. I went on deck and asked Larry to steer a course of 185 degrees. If we were lucky, I told him with a conviction I did not feel, he could expect to see the islands at 5 p.m. Then, with a heavy heart, I went below, climbed on my bunk, and amazingly dozed off. When I woke, it was 6 p.m., and growing dark, I knew we must have missed the islands, and with the sail we had left, we couldn't hope to beat back into the westerly winds. At the moment, a toast head appeared to my bunk. "Can I have a hug?" Jonathan asked. Sue was right behind him. "Why am I getting a hug now?" I asked. "Because you are the best daddy in the whole world, and the best captain," my son replied. "Not today, John. I am afraid." "Why, you must be," said Sue in the matter-of-fact voice. You found the island." "What?" I shouted. "It's out there in front of us," they charged, "as big as battleship." I rushed on deck and gazed with relief at the stark outline, like Amsterdam. It was only a bleak piece of volcanic rock with little vegetation, the most beautiful islands in the world. We anchored offshore for the night, and the next morning all 28 inhabitants of the islands cheered as they helped us ashore. With land under my feet again, my thoughts were full of Larry and Herbie, cheerful and optimistic under the direst stress, and of Mary, who stayed at the wheel for all those crucial hours. Most of all, I thought of a 7-year-old girl who did not want us to worry about a head injury, which subsequently took 6 minor operations to remove a recurring blood clot between skin and skull, and of a 6-year-old boy who was not afraid to die. So that's the chapter. We are not afraid to die if we can all be together. In the next video, I am going to read next chapter. Thank you for very much for your patience.